Hi guys, Marc Daniel Nelson here with Make Mine Music. Today I want to show you an amazing delay trick that I've used on vocals almost every album I mixed over the last 5 years. The cool part about this is there's 3 steps to get it. It's not a traditional delay trick that you're using automation or anything like that, and you kind of need the 3 combo to do what it does. So let's jump in and talk about it. This is a song I mixed about 1.5 years ago for the artist Daniel Doss called Anchor of My Soul. And the cool part about this track is it's an incredibly emotional, kind of dark, very ambient track. And it needed to have a unique vocal effect on it that wasn't just reverb or wasn't delay. I didn't want to hear the repeats on the vocal. For here, the main challenge was to create this depth of a vocal that didn't sound wet, but at the same time, it felt very in your face because Daniel's voice is incredibly strong, but I didn't want it to sound overpowering. So I wanted to soften it, and I wanted to keep it in an ethereal kind of space, but I didn't want to be too kind of cliched in using kind of presets that are sent out there that do these ping pong things that I don't like to hear. So I created this template that I do with sidechaining, a delay, and reverb. And what that does in a combination is it creates this ambience that lets me get the very punchy vocal that I want out of the vocal take. And then when the vocalist is done, the blooming of the delay comes up into the reverb and sends it in. And it's this really dense, really, really over the top kind of reverb that doesn't sound terribly too much. So what I want to do here is play you the song with the vocals going and have the reverb a little bit louder than I did on the track. That way you can hear what it's doing, and then I can go back and show you the steps.
Anchor of my soul, don't hide your face when I'm alone. I hear your voice, I need your arms pulling me home. You won't let go, won't let go, won't let go. Anchor of my soul.
What I wanted to do was create a reverb that was delayed and ambient, but not make it a super dry, punchy repeat delay. I'm not a big fan of that. I like to do throws on my sends and automate delay, eighth notes and quarter notes for transitions and stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of just leaving on like an Elvis echo as much as I used to years ago. I've kind of evolved into different kind of sounds that I like in my head. And for this song, I felt that I wanted to hear some kind of ethereal randomizing delay, but I didn't want to hear it as a hard, punchy kind of ping pong or just direct delay. So what I did was I created a send, and in that send, I set up a sidechain. Now this sidechain is at the end, so the compressor is at the end of my send chain. And then it's triggering off of the vocal. So every time the vocal comes in, it ducks this compressor. Now before the compressor is a reverb, which is a standardized plate with a nice little pre-delay on it, and this really great delay by Acoustica called Lemon. Now this is a little bit more my custom setting. I call it Verblicious because what it's doing is creating in series this really amazing, magical, ambient, huge, dark delay reverb. And the ducking of the compressor is creating the vocal to be really direct and punchy and in your face and not distracting. But when it's done, all the pretty stuff comes back up and sparkles around it. So let me take off everything but the delay, so you can hear on the vocals just the delay.
Anchor of my soul, don't hide your face when I'm alone. I hear your voice, I need your arms pulling me home.
So the cool thing about this setup here is you can see I have 1 and 2. One is pan left, one is pan right. The feedbacks are in the center. Now, if I wanted to automate the feedbacks, which I do later in the song, I juice up the feedback and I throw it so it goes into a kind of a spiral offshoot. It makes it a little more unpredictable. And it's kind of pinging and then it kind of aligns in the center. So it will ping pong and then somehow it kind of phases and locks into the center. And that's really cool, but it's super distracting on a song that's strictly very, very organic sounding piano and elements that are really thick and velvety. You don't need things pinging around, but you do like the element of having some kind of randomness. So then after that chain, I would put in the plate. Now this plate is pretty large, 4.6 seconds. That's a pretty giant plate. And then I put a 74 millisecond pre-delay on it to kind of separate the vocal delay and reverb away from the dry vocal a little bit, but not aggressively like I would normally do on a pop song, maybe up to 120 milliseconds on the pre-delay. I'll get into the pre-delay another time, but what that's doing is shifting enough away from it. But since this has delay and stuff in it, I wanted to keep it a little closer to the vocals, but also throw it a little bit away. Let's hear what it's doing on the reverb. So for the reverb and the delay, let's hear this.
Anchor of my soul, don't hide your face when I'm alone. I hear your voice, I need your arms pulling me home. You won't let go.
Now, obviously, that's way too much reverb on the track. I have it a little louder than I normally would, but relative-wise, you can hear why it's just too much. So the final trick to this whole setup is the ducking compressor. What this does is it allows the vocal to stick up and ducks the reverb and delay down when you don't want to hear it as much. Now, I'm not talking drastic, but I'm telling you enough for it to make a serious amount of creative sense. To set this up again, you'd put the compressor after the reverb. So it goes your delay setting, your reverb setting, and then the compressor that you have keyed to the vocal. So then it collapses the reverb and the delay down every time the vocal comes in. Now, if I don't listen and we just watch it, you can see just by playing it that it ducks the vocal in. Without even hearing it, you can see the reverbs and stuff being ducked down. Let's just play it by itself with the ducking and see how it's bringing down the delay and reverb.
Anchor of my soul, don't hide your face when I'm alone. I hear your voice, I need your arms pulling me home. You won't let go. You won't let go.
Let's listen to the chorus without the ducking and hear again what it's doing.
Let go. You won't let go.
It's flat, it's way too much, it's muddy, but when you use the ducking, it's almost slightly gating, like an expansion that's creating this like movement, and it really is big sounding, and it makes the vocals sound huge and just has a lot of depth to it and just way better.
Let go. You won't let go. my soul.
Pretty rad. In the track, I'd like to do an automation over it and make sure that things are tucked where they need to be and tight. It's pretty amazing. It's one of the best tricks I know for vocals to make them sound unique and spot on. It's a great trick. Using the three elements here combined, this is the Acoustica Lemon Delay going into the Valhalla plate set on brass, hitting the Fab Filter Compressor Pro as the ducker. Thanks guys for watching, and don't forget to download the presets of these plugins and have fun mixing.